Speaking of martyrs and people who have been really unfairly put upon, let me ask you about Meghan Markle.
One of the great martyrs of our time.
Poor thing. Her castle was so small. She is apparently getting back into the podcast lane thanks to this far left pro-women Lemonada company. Richard Eden over in the Daily Mail, your old hot, has a piece today saying they're struggling to get this thing out of the starting blocks. No podcasts are even expected anytime this year and not until 2025. And the podcast, by the way, is going to celebrate the joys of cooking, or at least something she's doing. Her Netflix show, I guess, is going to celebrate the joys of cooking, gardening, entertaining, and friendship, Piers. She's going to be teaching us how to be a good friend. I can't wait to find out from Meghan Markle what that's like.
Well, as one of the many friends that she cut off spectacularly the moment she got a bit of royal action, along with her entire family, of course, on both sides, apart from her mother. I don't think Meghan Markle's in any position to be lecturing anybody about friendship. It always made me laugh that the Archewell website, their charitable foundation, says it's dedicated to compassion. I mean, it's hard to imagine two people who've been less compassionate in the last few years to the ones around their loved ones than these two, right? This is two people who trashed all their family, whether it was her father or whether it's Harry's entire family at a time when Prince Philip and the Queen were both dying. There they were on national television, from Oprah Winfrey to Netflix to whoever, as the Spotify guy put it, whatever grift they could get paid for, up they were trashing their families. So the idea now that they're reduced, or that certainly Meghan Markle is now reduced from somebody who, remember Meghan, she had a fairy tale royal wedding that was seen around the world. The carriages drawn down to Windsor Castle and so on. It was an amazing event. Everyone in this country, I'm in the UK at the moment, everyone loved that marriage when it happened. There was universal support for it. Euphoria. It was only their behavior in the first year of their marriage when they began to behave rankly hypocritically, lecturing about poverty whilst having $500,000 baby showers, to lecturing us about the need to watch our carbon footprint and using Elton John and George Clooney's private jets like taxi cabs. And it was the constant hypocrisy that they got picked up on by the media, and then they couldn't handle the criticism from the media. And then it all turned hostile. Then they started suing everybody. And the whole thing got so toxic, eventually they just say, we've had enough of this. We're not going to do any more dreary duties on a wet Wednesday, which is what you have to do to earn your royal titles in the estimation of the public. And they decamped off to Montecito, bought themselves a massive mansion. And they were supposed to be doing it, Megyn, if you remember, this was going to be their liberation, their freedom, and it was supposed to make them happy. I've never seen two more miserable people who never stop whining and suing absolutely everybody in the pretense that this is because they found their liberation and freedom. If you're so damn happy and free and liberated, well, shut up, stop whining and complaining about everything. Stop it. But they're obviously not happy. And it's obviously been diminishing returns where when you trash your family again and again and again, eventually there's not much left to say. And people don't really want to hear it. It's like the Spotify guy said, they're just a pair of grifters who just want to trash their family for loads of money and not put a shift in to do proper work. You and I know how hard it is to do this kind of thing properly. It's a lot of work with a dedicated team, and you put the hours in, and you've got to be creative and high energy and really put graft in. These two wanted to do massive deals with companies and then not do any work. Nobody wants to see her next podcast. Nobody listened to the first one. And that's for this thing she's now doing with the ridiculously long name that no one can remember, where she's going to try and be the
American, whatever. I have to write it to American Riviera Orchard. See footnote 47 for the remainder of the name.
Right. And she's now got all her celebrity, sort of B-list, C-list mates putting out Instagram posts about her jam, and it's like, how the mighty fall. This was a woman who had it all in this country, who literally had it all, and is now flogging jam
I accept that. But certainly to start with, they ditched him. They dropped him. Harry's never met his father-in-law in his life. You know, he proposed marriage to this girl knowing what's going to happen and then doesn't do anything to protect the father at all. And so now she's disowned him. What kind of people put compassion on their website, as they do, as being at the centre of their core being, when they live 70 miles away from this guy who has not got long for this world, he's in poor health, all he wants to do is meet his grandchildren, and she won't have anything to do with him? That's not compassionate. And also the hypocrisy and belies are not what I think are decent values in people. And I think Meghan Markle branding us a racist country and attacking the institution of the monarchy as racist.
It's unfair.
I think she
totally
is.
What is he doing? Unfair.
She is what I would call a race baiter. If she doesn't produce hard evidence to support these incendiary claims, she becomes a race baiter, exploiting racism and the issue of racism to act as a kind of protective shield around her and to make herself extremely rich and famous as a professional victim. I've spent more time in Sussex than Meghan and Harry have in the last 2 weeks. Right? So, actually, a month. But they're never there. But they've got these titles which are given to them. That's really all I mean about they trade off Duke and Duchess of Sussex, the royals, to make themselves incredibly rich. And I do wonder if there's a point where Charles goes, actually, you can't do that anymore. Okay. It'd be unprecedented, but why wouldn't he?
Yeah, but I think it's kind of irrelevant. I mean, no one really cares about the titles. If you strip them of the titles, they're still Harry and Meghan. They'd still be equally famous. And
but they wouldn't be acting as members of the royal family.
Yeah. I don't think they go around acting as members of the royal family.
Oh, they do. All the paperwork, all the letter headings, it's all from the office of the Duchess of Sussex. Almost nonsense. She calls herself a princess on her podcast. Little girls have got to make a real princess. You're not a princess. She's not a princess anyway. But they do it quite deliberately to fuel the interest from commercial entities. And really, the interest is based on them trashing their family. I mean, without that, I'm not sure what we're interested in. We don't want to hear their woke homilies about life, do we? So I'm not sure how this all plays out, but it's a mess. And Charles may have to deal with it, I think. Well, good evening from London. Welcome to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Today, Harry and Meghan torched what little was left of their relationship with the royal family and what little was left, frankly, of their own reputations. Last week was mostly sycophantic. This latest instalment was downright seditious. Prince Harry mauls his own brother. He accuses his father, the new king, of being a liar. Even as a dig at his late great-grandmother, the Queen, for standing by and doing nothing. The royal family is directly accused of destroying two of its own to protect itself. And I don't know where it all stops, all this. Where does it end? We've got the book, and then we've got the interview circuit, and so it goes on. It's all apparently a dark plot by Britain and the royals to smear the poor, defenceless, vulnerable Sussexes. Trickery, treachery, hypocrisy. And if there's one conclusion to draw from the final instalment of their Netflix series, it's that Prince Harry surely is now a traitor to the country that he once served.